Imagine waking up one day and realizing your positivity has become your prison. You've done everything they told you to do. You've silenced your doubts, plastered on a smile, and repeated the mantra, good vibes only. But deep down, something feels off. You push away sadness, you bury anger, you reject fear, because you've been told those emotions make you weak. But what if I told you they don't disappear? They only fester, growing like cracks beneath the surface, until one day, the entire facade shatters. We live in a world that glorifies positivity, but at what cost? What if chasing happiness is the very thing keeping you from it? The dark side of forced positivity. Society tells you to stay positive, to smile through the pain, to be stronger than your emotions. But when positivity becomes an obligation instead of a choice, it stops being positive. This is the emotional suppression paradox. When you ignore pain, it doesn't disappear. It metastasizes. It builds like pressure in a sealed container until the moment it inevitably explodes. Think about it. When was the last time you let yourself truly feel sad, or angry, or afraid? Chances are you didn't. Because somewhere along the way, you were taught that these emotions are bad, that acknowledging them makes you weak. But emotions don't obey commands. They don't dissolve just because you refuse to acknowledge them. Instead, they turn inward, manifesting as anxiety, burnout, even physical illness. Picture this: a person who always smiles, who never complains, who radiates joy on the outside, yet every night they sit alone in bed, feeling emptier than ever. They've mastered the art of looking happy, but they've forgotten how to be real. And here's the dangerous part. When you suppress what you truly feel for long enough, you start losing touch with who you really are. How good vibes only creates emotional debt. Think of your emotions like a bank account. Every time you suppress a painful feeling, it's like swiping a credit card without paying it off. At first, it seems manageable. You convince yourself you'll deal with it later, but over time, the interest builds. Unprocessed sadness turns into numbness. Suppressed anger turns into resentment. Anxiety compounds until it becomes unbearable. And then, one day, the debt collector comes knocking. Maybe it's a breakdown. Maybe it's a panic attack. Maybe it's the realization that you no longer recognize yourself. This isn't just philosophy, it's science. Studies show that repressing emotions doesn't just affect your mind, it affects your body. Chronic stress, insomnia, weakened immune systems. The cost of ignoring your feelings is higher than you think. So, here's the real question. If you deny half of your emotions, are you truly living, or are you just pretending? The manipulation of positivity culture. They tell you to be positive, to see the good in everything, to be grateful no matter what. But what if positivity isn't just a mindset, but a product being sold to you? Welcome to the business of happiness. Corporations, social media, self-help gurus, each one has mastered the art of exploiting toxic positivity for profit. Because here's the harsh truth: happiness sells. Discomfort? That's bad for business. Think about it. A workplace that preaches good vibes only is often the same workplace that gaslights its employees into accepting unrealistic workloads. If you're overworked and exhausted, just have a better attitude. If you're underpaid and struggling, be grateful for what you have. This is how hustle culture thrives, by rebranding burnout as ambition. You're not exhausted, you're just not motivated enough. You're not being exploited, you just need to push harder. And then there's social media, the ultimate illusion of perpetual happiness. Scroll through Instagram and you'll see influencers with perfect bodies, luxurious vacations, and beaming smiles. But behind the scenes, many of them are drowning in anxiety, depression, and self-doubt. They don't show the breakdowns, the sleepless nights, the crushing pressure to maintain the facade, because in this world, the appearance of happiness is more valuable than happiness itself. But here's the real danger. The more you consume this manufactured joy, the more you feel like something is wrong with you for not feeling the same. And that's how the cycle continues. Because as long as you believe happiness is the goal, you'll keep chasing it, like a carrot on a stick, always just out of reach. The power of negative emotions. What if the emotions you fear the most are the ones that can set you free? Society has conditioned us to see negative emotions as the enemy, something to fix, suppress, or ignore. You're told to stay strong when you're breaking inside, to look on the bright side even when the world around you feels dark. But what if this constant need to be happy is the very thing keeping you from true growth? For centuries, the greatest thinkers, philosophers, and spiritual leaders have understood something that modern society ignores. Pain isn't just suffering, it's transformation. Nietzsche famously said, "To live is to suffer, to survive is to find meaning in the suffering." He believed that the most profound growth happens when we lean into discomfort instead of running from it. Buddha taught that attachment to pleasure and avoidance of pain are the root causes of human suffering. Instead of chasing happiness, he encouraged people to embrace life as it is, both the joy and the sorrow. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic emperor, believed that hardship was a necessary part of wisdom. He wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Why do so many of history's greatest minds embrace suffering? Because it forces us to evolve. Think about how muscles grow. You don't build strength by avoiding resistance. Your muscles must break down before they rebuild stronger. Pain is the price of growth. The same is true for your emotional and psychological strength. Yet, in today's world, we try to numb discomfort. We distract ourselves with social media, binge-watch shows to escape, drown our stress in work, or tell ourselves to just stay positive. But what if sadness isn't something to be avoided? What if anger is not something to suppress? What if your darkest emotions are trying to tell you something? What if sadness is a signal that something in your life needs to change? What if anger is an energy that, when channeled correctly, can fuel transformation? What if fear is not a stop sign, but a compass guiding you towards something important? What happens if, instead of rejecting these emotions, you listen to them? The truth is, avoiding negative emotions doesn't make them disappear, it just buries them deeper. And buried emotions don't die, they fester, waiting for the moment to resurface in ways you can't control. Anxiety, depression, burnout, unexplained exhaustion. What if the key to inner peace isn't avoiding sadness, but learning to sit with it? Escaping the prison of forced happiness. So, how do you break free? It starts with radical acceptance. Instead of running from pain, what happens when you sit with it? What happens when you stop trying to fix every uncomfortable emotion and simply allow yourself to feel? Here's a challenge for you. Today, acknowledge one uncomfortable feeling without judging it. If you're sad, let yourself be sad. If you're angry, let yourself feel it. No guilt, no shame, just raw, unfiltered honesty. Because here's the paradox. When you stop resisting your emotions, they lose their power over you. And for the first time, you're not just pretending to be happy, you're alive. The real goal in life isn't to be positive all the time. It's to be real, to be whole, to be fully human. Because in the end, the deepest joy is not found in endless sunshine. It's found in embracing the full spectrum of what it means to be alive. Thanks for watching.